So if you're anything like me, you hate listing. You're a reseller and you hate listing. That's like the bane of your existence. Well, in today's video, I'm going to tell you a couple ways that I like to keep it interesting, keep it fresh, and that way I can stay on track and keep my items listed and keep refreshing my store with new items so that I can make more sales. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel. I'm James. You're watching Journey into Wealth. Thank you for being here. Today it's listing day for me, and I thought to myself, God, I just hate listing. And if you're anything like me, you probably hate listing too. It's one of the things that you do on eBay that is just like the most monotonous, boring thing ever. But you have to do it. If you're going to sell items, you have to do it. So I've come up with a couple ways that I keep it kind of fresh for myself, and I want to share those ways with you today. So let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, the thing that I have, probably the most helpful thing that I've done that kind of changes the whole trajectory of everything, what I did is I realized that when I was out buying items, especially if I'm buying things in thrift stores or garage sales or anything like that, and if I'm looking them up anyway, so it's something that I don't know what it is, and I look it up on my phone anyway, I would look it up, I'd get a value, I would buy the item, and I'd move on to the next thing, and the next, 4 or 5 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 months, 5 months later, when I got around to listing the item, I would have to then look it up again to make sure that the value was still the same because markets obviously change, but also so that I could list the item. What I started doing that changed the game for me is when I look up an item, I just hit sell one like this right away. Once I decide that I'm going to buy the item, I hit sell one like this, so it creates a draft. And while I'm in there, I take a reference photo of the item just so that I can remember what it is that I'm looking at specifically. And then I price the item based on what the comps were at that moment. So now I have a draft in my eBay that is priced, and I have a reference photo that's already got a title. So I've already got a working listing, right? And the reason why I do that is because it eliminates me duplicating my efforts. So I don't look it up and then move on, and then when I list it, have to look it up again and sell one like this. That's duplicating your efforts. If you just do it at the time while you're in the store, sell one like this, get you a draft started, and then just price the draft, and I take a reference photo just so that I can remember it. So that's something that I started doing, and it really changed the game for me, because then when I went to list things later on, all I had to do was look through my drafts, and it was something that was already there, and then it was as easy as taking pictures and doing the rest of the listing and calling it a day, and it was up on the internet there. The second thing that I do, I batch items, right? So if I'm out and I'm hitting thrift stores and I'm buying a bunch of different types of items, maybe I'm buying some shoes and I'm buying some, electronics or, whatever. I don't know what I'm buying. When I get back and I start to list things, I batch all of the like items together, right? So if I buy maybe some DVD players or some electronics, I might set those aside if I only have 1 or 2. And if I bought 4 or 5 pairs of shoes and I have like 5 or 6 pairs of shoes that I still haven't listed, I'll batch all of those together so that I'm listing all of the same type of item at the same time. And what that does is it makes me more efficient in my listing process, right? Which we'll talk about my process here in a second, but it makes it more efficient for me to list the same type of item over and over and over again, rather than going and taking pictures of shoes and then having to take pictures of something large like a DVD player and deciding on box sizes and weights and all that other stuff. It makes it more efficient if I can just streamline the process and list 15 pairs of shoes. I can take the same pictures of the shoes. I can guess on the weight pretty close on all of the same shoes, get them packed. Most of them take the same size boxes, that kind of thing. So batching my items is something that's really important in my setup process so that I can make sure that I'm doing it in listing as efficiently and quickly as I possibly can. The next thing I do is I work in phases, right? So I don't take something and clean it up, and then my process goes something like this. I buy the item, first of all. Then I prep the item, so I clean up any sticky crap off of it. I just make it look presentable. Then I box the item and put filler paper or bubble wrap or whatever inside the box, and then I weigh the box. And what that does is that generates me a custom SKU, because I know that the box is numbered in a sequential number. I know how much the box weighs with all of the packing paper and stuff inside of it already. I know what size the box is, so I can say my SKU is item number this, weight this, in a medium box. After that, I take pictures of the item. Then I finish pack the item and I store the item, and then I list the item, or I finish the listing for the item. And I know that seems a little bit backwards, but it's because I've developed a system in my business. So I don't take that item and I don't go through the whole process with just one item. What I do is I work in phases, right? So I might take all of my items and clean all of my items. And then I might take all of my items and box all of my items and generate my SKUs. And then I take all of my items, I take pictures of every single item that I have. And then I take them all and I finish pack them. And then I take them all and I upload all of the photos at the same time. And then I take them all and I list all of them at the same time. So there's like 5 or 6 phases to my listing process that I do. But I take batches of, let's say, 20, 25 items, and I do those things in phases so that I can set things up and systems up, especially when you're talking about taking pictures of items. I can smash out some pictures, swap the item, smash out some pictures, swap the item, smash out some pictures, swap the item. It's not like I'm cleaning it, boxing it, taking pictures. You're wasting a lot of time if you're doing that. If you can batch your items together and work in phases, that's the best way to do it because you'll be the most efficient. Another thing that I do is I create processes and systems for the process, the business, right? My favorite process in my business is my inventory management process, and that's because it makes the packing and shipping and fulfillment aspect of my business just absolutely brainless. I could like die tomorrow. Let's hope I don't, but I could die tomorrow, and if I had orders come in, anyone could go fill those orders because it would be super easy to find those orders based on my custom SKU and how I store them in my inventory, in my little warehouse storage unit thing. So if you create processes and create systems like that for your business, you can make things so much easier, and eventually you'll be able to replace yourself and have somebody else doing little things, and you might be able to hire somebody that takes photos because you have a process for it, right? My process goes a little something like this. Because I've already put the items in the box and the box is numbered with a weight on it, I take the item out of the box and I take a picture of the box and the item with all of the measurements and everything's already in plain view on the item. And I take the box out and then I can take pictures, and I know I have a checklist of item photos that I take on every single item. So whether that includes the serial numbers so you don't get scammers that try and send you other items back, if your item has a serial number, I take, front, back, side, top, bottom, inside. There's a checklist of items that I take photos of that on every single item, no matter what. On very small items, I actually use a carousel that turns the item around. So I just click, turn it, click, and I'm done. And it's super fast, it's super efficient, and super easy. And that's because I've created processes and systems in the phases of my listing process that make things just kind of like go along. So hey, if you got some value out of this video, please like, favorite, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube thing, smash the like button, help me out with the algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate you guys watching my videos and commenting on them and stuff and sticking around with me. So thank you for that. Hopefully you got some value out of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.